Okay, congrats, you got into architecture school. Today I'm going to share with you all the tools and supplies that you'll need before starting architecture school. I'll explain exactly what you need and why, and you can find links to all the items down in the description below. So first up is a laptop. So nowadays, all of your drafting and your modeling will probably be done using softwares on your laptop. You'll probably learn hand drafting either the first semester or at some point within your first year. But then afterwards, everything will always be on your computer using different softwares. Okay, so the laptop that I used for school was an Asus Vivobook. This is the newer model of the Asus Vivobook. Mine had a 15-inch screen, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and i7 core processing unit. I'm not sure exactly what all those specs mean. Basically, that's what my school required from us to get for our laptop. And you can check your school's requirements, and it's probably just based on the type of softwares that you're going to be using. The next point I'm going to talk about on laptops is whether you should get a PC or a Windows laptop. So I obviously had a Windows operating system, and a lot of architects in the industry use a PC operating system. And that's because most of the architectural softwares that you're going to be using are designed for a Windows operating system. So there are some softwares that actually don't even make versions for Macs, but there are workarounds if you do already have a Mac laptop. So I never used a Mac in school, but I did have some friends who used it and they could get through school using a MacBook, but it's just probably not ideal because you might have to do just a few things to work around to be able to use the softwares that you need to. Okay, the second thing that you might need is a desktop monitor. This is actually a great idea to get a desktop monitor because you will be staring at your computer all day and all night. It's much easier on your eyes to work on a larger screen than on a smaller laptop. And it's also nice to have multiple screens. Sometimes it's nice to have different tabs open while you're working in your model. Monitors can get pretty expensive, but you can also find some inexpensive ones. And I'll link down below the ones I recommend. Next, you'll want to get a laptop mouse. Do yourself a favor and get yourself a good ergonomic Bluetooth mouse. If you're using a shitty mouse, your hand will likely cramp up and you'll be hearing the little clicking sound in your sleep, so do yourself a favor and get a good mouse. I would suggest getting a laptop stand to raise your laptop so you don't strain your neck from slouching down and staring at your laptop. Like I said, you're going to be spending a lot of time on your computer, so you want to make sure that your setup is nice and comfortable. The next thing that you definitely want to get is a hard drive or a USB stick. This is to keep all of your project and your notes off of your laptop so that you can work off of these hard drives instead. This will just help your computer system be able to run a lot faster, and it's also much safer if your computer randomly dies on you or crashes. You'll be able to have the work that you saved on a different hard drive and just plug it into a different computer. The next thing you need is definitely a desk. So when I'm looking for a desk, I just want something that's really big and I can kind of just scatter all of my things on top. So for me, storage isn't really important on a desk. I'll just have minimal kind of items on top of my desk and then store the things somewhere else in the room. A little tip, you can even just go to IKEA and get like a big dinner table if you have the space to put this big desk in. The thing that I like about a big dinner table is that you have a lot of space to just scatter your things, and you're gonna need a lot of room while you're working on your projects. You're probably gonna have your laptop open, maybe a textbook open, maybe you're working on a physical model. So you just wanna have the space to be able to scatter your items around and kind of work comfortably. Okay, every architecture student needs a good sketchbook. I think if you had a Moleskine in architecture school, you were like really cool. But no, you don't need to get a Moleskine sketchbook. They can be kind of expensive. They are really nice though. The paper is really nice, it's acid free, and they usually have like a little pocket inside where you can kind of put little scrap notes, and then most of them have that little band that can close your sketchbook so it doesn't randomly open in your bag. But you can definitely find stuff that are similar or inexpensive. So yeah, I really liked Moleskine. There's also a German brand that I can't pronounce. I'll put the name up here. It's very similar to a Moleskine, and I get the notebook with the little dots instead of the lines, and you can just use these dots as reference as you're sketching too. You're going to carry this everywhere to jot down ideas, take sketches of things that you see, and take notes that you can reference later for your projects. I would also recommend getting a daily or like a weekly planner. I like having a physical copy because I like to just write down my to-do list instead of typing them, but you can easily do this on your computer. You can use Notion or even like a Google Calendar to plan out your weeks. You're going to use your daily planner like a Bible, and I think it's so essential for good time management in school. You need to be able to kind of look at your week and even the weeks ahead and look at the projects that are due, different tasks that you have to get done, and you're going to want to carry this around everywhere with you. Something else else that you'll probably want to get is tracing paper. This is great when you're trying to quickly think through your different design ideas. It's amazing because you can easily layer different pieces of tracing paper on top of each other and sketch over top of other sketches without ruining like the original sketch. Tracing paper can get pretty expensive, but honestly it's really worth it, and you can find some cheaper brands as well. I've heard people say that you can just use baking paper instead of tracing paper. The only issue with baking paper is it has that waxy film on top, which won't let you sketch on top. So if you can find a baking paper without that waxy film, I'm sure it would work just as great. Next thing that you want to get is a good pack of colored fine tip pens. So get a pack of colored fine line pens and then get a pack of black pens with different thicknesses. This is amazing for sketching different building details and being able to annotate your drawings. So I really like the Japanese brand of fine line black pens. I'll link them down below. I love those pens. If you're looking for a good kind of sketching pen to carry around, I love that one. So to add into your pencil case, you'll definitely want to get a set of alcohol-based markers. So these are amazing for when you're trying to sketch out diagrams or different schematics. Probably the best known brand are Copics, which is like the Louboutins of alcohol-based markers, but you can easily find brands that are a lot cheaper. Another thing that you might want to get are some blue light glasses. Because you're going to be on your computer all day and night, you might want to consider getting blue light glasses. I just have regular kind of prescription glasses to help me. Blue light glasses just help minimize the strain on your eyes from the blue light from your computer screen. And the blue light also messes up with your sleep cycle, but I mean, it's not like architecture school, it doesn't. Okay, another thing you'll need for your first year of architecture school is a scale ruler. You'll probably be able to find these at your school's bookshop. You'll be using these for your drafting classes and also for physical model making. So these scale rulers have different scales on each edge of the ruler, and you'll learn how to use them in your classes. But yeah, this is just something that you might need to get for your first year. Also get a metal ruler if you can, rather than plastic, because when you're going to be cutting your materials during model making, the plastic will cut but the metal won't. You'll probably need a cutting mat and get one with a grid. Yeah, so these are just staples when you're going to be making physical models. Basically, it's so that when you're cutting your materials, you don't cut through your desk. You have this cutting mat underneath. So as for knives for model making, I really like the retractable blades. I like them because they're better for heavier duty materials. You can also use X-Acto knives, but they're not going to be strong enough for those more heavier duty materials. Next, you'll definitely want to consider getting noise canceling headphones. This is great when you're working in a studio with other people, and it'll just help you focus a lot more. You can obviously just get regular headphones. You'll be using them all the time as you're working through your projects throughout the night. Also wanted to include a list of books that really helped me get through architecture school. I'm thinking of just making this a separate video because I could talk about these books a lot and explain exactly how they helped me get through architecture school and explain what they talk about. But I'll leave a list in the description below of just a few books that come top to mind. The Francis Ching books are really great, which you can find on Amazon. You'll probably have to get them for school. I think a lot of schools recommend those books, but they have really great illustrations explaining the different concepts. And these books are really great for understanding the different principles of design. So I'll leave a link to those books below. Also, at the beginning stages of your projects, you're probably going to need something to kind of get the ideas flowing, and you can use these websites as sources of inspiration. Yeah, again, I'll have them linked down below, but just a few that come top of mind are arcdaily.com, obviously Architecture Digest, Design, Rum ID, and these are just different online publications that talk about architecture, interior design, and everything about the industry, and they're great sources of inspiration for you to kind of start off your projects and for you to do some research too. And the last two items that you absolutely need to get yourself through architecture school is one, a good coffee maker and coffee that you love. Trust me, if you don't like coffee already, your architecture school is gonna make you a coffee addict. And number two is a good therapist or a good friend to cry on. I'm just kidding, you'll make it through fine, but it's always good to have someone to lean on. So those are all the essential tools and supplies that I could think of to help you get through architecture school. I hope that helped you feel more prepared for you to start architecture school, and good luck. I hope you make it through and you're gonna do great. And thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.